Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to MUFC vs. Everybody. I am your host, Sean, and I'm glad you guys could make it this morning for a deep dive at the post Ajax career of Matthijs de Ligt. That's what we're going to be looking at today, but I would be remiss in my duties as your host if I didn't make a point to stop and talk for a little bit on some breaking news that has just gone live right before I started the stream. So before I do give you that news, hit that like button, subscribe, and let's get stuck in, guys. So again, before we dive into our closer look at Matthijs de Ligt, got some breaking news today from both, David Ornstein officially from Manchester United. Manchester United have announced that Erik ten Hag has signed that contract extension to 2026. So we get 2 more years with Erik ten Hag. Keep in mind though, that's like a lot of our players that we've signed over the last couple of years. That's the 1 year extension option on ten Hag's contract. It's not a new contract per se. We've triggered that extension right now, so it is 2 years from now, which was again just that 1 year extra on the current contract. We've got some comments here from Erik ten Hag and from Dan Ashworth, so our new technical director, already getting involved. So Erik ten Hag has said, "I am very pleased to have reached agreement with the club to continue working together." I'll stop. Looking back at the past 2 years, we can reflect with pride on 2 trophies and many examples of progression from where we were when I joined. I think I would agree. 2 trophies, 3 finals in 2 years. If you deep some of his numbers too, compared to some of the first 2 years with other managers. So, for instance, if you compare him to like Mikel Arteta or Jurgen Klopp, he's got higher points per game. He's got more wins, fewer defeats than Jurgen Klopp. So he's not wrong. However, he continues, we must also be clear that there is still lots of hard work ahead to reach the levels expected of Manchester United, which means challenging for English and European titles. In my discussions with the club, we have found complete unity in our vision for reaching those goals, and we are all strongly committed to making that journey together. I think that depending on how this summer transfer window goes, because a lot of teams are going to be strengthening, I think that we do need to make a really strong push in the Europa League. I think we do need to make it to another domestic cup final. I think that's the expectation now, right? Especially in the last couple of years. And so I do think we need to make also a really, really strong push for those Champions League spots next year. I don't want to have to wait for it to come down to the final cup competition, the cup final of the season, to see if we qualify for Europe or not. I don't want to have to be here, in a little less than a year, hoping that we win the Europa League final just to get in the Champions League. I don't want us to be there. It's been 2 years. Erik ten Hag has kind of set and then raised expectations and raised the standards with the cups that we've won. And so we need to see what's happening. Last year, our league finish was not great compared to his first season. So, and some people could say, okay, maybe that's regressing to the mean. It does happen. Sir Matt finished 7th twice in the early 60s. Sir Alex did not do great in his first few seasons as well. Look at Mikel Arteta. Look at what Jurgen Klopp did his first couple seasons at Liverpool. I get it, but we need to do better. Let's see what Dan Ashworth has had to say. With 2 trophies in the past 2 seasons, Erik has reinforced his record as one of the most consistently successful coaches in European football. While the club's review of last season highlighted areas for improvement, it also reached a clear conclusion that Erik was the best partner for us to work with in driving up standards and outcomes. This group of players and staff have already shown they are capable of competing and winning at the top level. Now we need to do it more consistently. With our strengthened football leadership team now in place, we are looking forward to working hand in hand with Erik to achieve our shared ambitions for the football club. So Dan Ashworth already kind of lending voice to a lot of what we're thinking, a lot of what we've been discussing. That word levels, that word standards, we've seen it in the last couple of years with Erik ten Hag. And whether you like his methods or not, I think we could all agree that the underlying goal is to elevate everybody in the squad to the same level, and which means not playing favorites, which means handing down consequences when rules are broken, whether you're Ronaldo or whether you're Alejandro Garnacho. This is what's going to happen now. Some players haven't liked that, and you see that with any organization when someone new comes in and they kind of shift the status quo a little bit. Some people are going to go along with it. Some people are going to take it as a challenge and they're going to work harder. Some people are not going to like it and they're going to either try to get that person forced out or they're going to force themselves out. I like, we've got this structure now, this backroom structure with some new coaching staff. We've got a recruitment structure now with all these new additions and with Ten Hag. And this is the point. They're all supposed to work hand in hand in tandem. Erik Ten Hag has had to do more, not because he's some sort of dictator, but because our recruitment structure was just non-existent. He had to do more simply because he had to. Can't rely. We've seen, Murtaugh Arnold will travel all the way to Turin, all the way to Spain to try to negotiate and then come back empty-handed with a souvenir T-shirt. We can't rely on that. We just can't. And so, yes, Erik Ten Hag's talent ID has been hit or miss. And while I don't blame, the fact that sometimes signings just don't work out, it is what it is, but that's part of the job, as manager. Especially in this instance where you did push so hard. It's not his job that Antony cost so much. It's not his job that Casemiro cost so much, and so on and so forth. But it is what it is. So what are your thoughts on Erik Ten Hag's contract extension? Are you Erik Ten Hag in? Are you Erik Ten Hag out? Does it really matter at this point? Like I've said many times, it's up to him now. The manager, and the results in the pitch are going to dictate. It doesn't hurt to back him, And I get it when you're Ten Hag out, our brains as human beings, we tend to kind of filter out any information that doesn't kind of go along with our mental agenda. And so any success, any good performances, any positive results are not going to be kind of acknowledged by a lot of this Ten Hag out crowd. But the moment we struggle, the moment we have a bad result, they're going to jump all over it. That's normal. That's human beings. We all do that. So all I can say is just get behind everybody, get behind the coach, get behind the players, get behind the club, and let's all work towards a goal instead of working, at each other. So that's news. Erik Ten Hag signs his contract extension. Again, it's not a new contract. It is the triggering of the 1-year extension on his current contract. So his current contract was 3 years. It was set to go for 1 year, and we triggered that option for 2. So he's got 2 years to make some magic happen. He's already done a really good job. Let's see if he can continue and build upon that foundation. A lot of that's going to have to do with what we get done in this transfer window. I like us to get some priority players in before preseason so they can get some time with the squad, unlike the past several seasons where we've waited till, the Premier League has already started to sign guys like Antony or Casemiro, for instance. So let's get it going. So let's move on to the main focus of today's video after that breaking news. Matthijs de Ligt. It sounds like Manchester United and Bayern are deep into negotiations for de Ligt. From what I read and heard this week, de Ligt wants the move. He's willing to take a pay cut, and Bayern are interested in selling. It sounds like Vincent Kompany. I still can't. Sometimes I wake up and think maybe it was just a dream. Maybe Vincent Kompany isn't the Bayern Munich manager, but no, it is. It is all too real, and it is all too hilarious. So apparently we're still discussing a fee and a payment structure for de Ligt, but it sounds like it's almost a cert that de Ligt and Ten Hag are going to be reunited at United. I did read the fee that we were starting with was like 34 million plus add-ons. It sounds like that could even get it over the line, which is interesting since Bayern paid like 60 something million for him. But we'll see. I think it'll probably be somewhere closer to like 40 million plus add-ons, but which still for Matthijs de Ligt, his age, what is he, 24? On paper, you're like, all right, that's a really good deal. But we're going to take a closer look at that, and I'll let you guys decide after we get some context here. So some of you might watch the Bundesliga, or maybe you've watched a lot of Serie A when de Ligt was at Juventus. Or maybe if you're like me, you watch a lot of the Eredivisie. That ESPN Plus subscription is awesome. I do have a soft spot for Ajax. I really like their structure, the way they instill that kind of that philosophy, that mentality, the talent, the skill into their academy from a young age. I really like Ajax. The history there, obviously, we've seen a lot of really great players come through Ajax. So I always have a little bit of a soft spot for watching Ajax. But if you did watch a lot of their Eredivisie several years ago, you did see Matthijs de Ligt take the world by storm as Ajax's young captain. Obviously, Ten Hag came in and really helped turn that team around. They hadn't really won anything for several years. He came in and was winning. He was winning Eredivisie leagues, back to back to back to back, almost without, the cancellation of the league due to COVID. Got them to a Champions League semifinal for the first time since like the 90s. And De Ligt was really at the heart of that as their captain. Obviously, guys like Frankie de Jong were big helps as well. In any case, I wanted to sort of provide you with a bit of a breakdown how Matthijs de Ligt has performed since leaving Ajax and what I think he could bring to Manchester United. So don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new, and let's get stuck in. So before switching to Bayern Munich, obviously de Ligt was at Juventus. He went there after success at Ajax, made his big move. Frankie de Jong was off to Barcelona, and de Ligt went to Juventus. That was kind of the big moves. He spent 3 seasons at Juve. It was actually quite solid, considering, moving to a new league at such a young age into an established team, one of the best teams in Italy at the time. He actually did score 4 goals in his first season at Juve, which, of course, obviously isn't the main focus when you're a center back, but 2 of those goals were headers, and 3 were from inside the box, meaning, and we're going to see a little bit more of this, that he does cause problems, especially on set pieces in the opposition area. He's very good aerially. And he was also in the Team of the Week 5 times that season. So if you take a look at the breakdown of some of his stats, as I have, look at some of his percentiles, the main theme here in his in his 3 seasons at Juventus were his passes and his pass completion. Very, very, very good. His first season, he wasn't as physically imposing as he was, and I think a lot of that has to do, he was still young, coming into the new league, still kind of finding his feet. But he was displaying his skill on the ball a lot. And now we started to see him impose himself a little bit more on set pieces and stuff in his second season at Juve. So in the second season, his touches in the opposition area went from that 50th percentile to 0.7 per match, up into almost double to the 87th and the 85th percentile in his next 2 seasons. He's getting a lot of touches. But you look at the biggest common theme here is passes attempted and pass completion. Those are consistently high in the 80s and 90 percentile since leaving Ajax. And another common thread here, and I think what we're going to see as a really big help for us at United, because it's an area that we do struggle, is those aerials won. He has been in the 76th, 73rd, and 86th percentile for aerials won in Serie A when he's at Juve. Very good stats, considering just new league, the way that Juve team is set up. Very good stats. In fact, overall, his time at Juventus wasn't bad. It was just his second season, right? That hurt him a bit. It was that 2021 season. He picked up that big shoulder injury that put him on the sidelines from August to November. So he missed the entire first half of the season, basically like Kavi Menu did for us last season. And then when he was recovering, he got coronavirus, which saw that timeout extended a little bit. And then he picked up a couple muscle issues. And so the muscle issues are going to happen after you spend so much time on the sidelines. We saw that with Lisandro Martinez. He was out for a very long time, came back, and then picked up some muscle issues. That's going to happen when you're out for that long. But he did miss almost 150 days and around 30 matches for club and country in that 2021 season. But when he was fit, he was fine. He had a goal, he had assists in that second year, 1 Team of the Week. 21-22 season was great too. No big injuries to speak of. Started 29 matches, 3 goals, 1 assist. Featured twice in the Team of the Week. So when he's fit, he's firing. Then we go to Bayern. And last season was a bit of a rocky point for him. He only featured In 22 league matches last season because of injury, he only started 16 of those matches as well. He did, however, feature the team of the week once. He got 2 goals as well last season. His passing, again, solid, 93% accuracy last season. He got a good amount of numbers of passes into those final 30. Now, you remember, context is key, right? When I especially with center backs, I never want to say a center back's passing is good just because they have a high completion rate. You got to look at how many of those are progressive, how many of those are accurate long balls and whatnot. It's easy for a center back to just make a 5-10 yard pass to his partner or the fullback, but how many of those are attempting to break the lines and get up the pitch and progress the ball forward? And so that's, again, what do I always say? Context is key. So he has 92% accuracy in the opposition half. So he's making a lot of passes in the opposite half, 62% long ball accuracy, and he's got almost 2 attempts per match. So he's very good on the ball, which I think is something Ten Hag values. It's something Ten Hag clearly instilled within Matthijs de Ligt and something he's carried with him since leaving Ajax. If you look at his 2 seasons in the Bundesliga, so 23, 24, 22, 23, he's got the passes attempted are in the 93rd, 85th percentile. His completion is up there in the high, like 98th percentile for pass completion his first season in the Bundesliga. That's insane. He gets a lot of touches in the opposition area. He actually carries the ball quite a lot. So in this last year, he actually was in the 71st percentile for progressive carries. So he's getting on the ball and he's carrying it up himself, which is really good. His progressive passes numbers are always in the top 10 percentile since joining Bayern Munich as well. And so what that means is he's attempting a lot of passes, he's completing a lot of passes, and a lot of those passes are moving the ball forward up the pitch, which is what we want. We don't want this constant, cycling the ball. It's when you need to, that's fine. Slow the game down, kill some time, whatever. But again, we're seeing consistently that his aerials are top drawer. 86 percentile in his first season, 72 percentile in his last season. And his touches in the opposition area, again, mid 80 percentile. So he's dangerous on set pieces, which is really what we've been lacking. We need someone who's on these set pieces, whether we're defending or whether we're attacking on a corner or a free kick. We need a defender. We need a physical body in the box. McTominay, he's physical. He causes problems, but I feel like we haven't seen that enough on these set pieces. We've seen it from McTominay in open play, but the problem with McTominay is, in terms of his footballing intelligence, it's just not at the level it needs to be for him to be kind of guaranteed that stuff. I think Ten Hag likes McTominay. I think he likes his mentality, his hard working. Obviously, McTominay picked up a lot of goals, but McTominay is not going to be that kind of constant presence in your starting 11 that we need from in that regard. Maguire went from getting a lot of these opportunities at Leicester to not really getting a whole lot of these. We saw it pop up a little bit towards the end of last season. He was popping up on set pieces and whatnot. But Maguire doesn't have that kind of attacking, take initiative mentality, as in when the ball comes into the box, I'm not attacking it. I'm kind of jumping off the back foot and playing defense mentally. I want to see a little bit more aggression on those balls coming in the box, on those set pieces, on defending them as well, to go attack that, to not wait for it could have something to do with zonal marking. I don't like zonal marking. I think just clear the danger. That's your first job as a defender. Who cares if it's coming into your area or not? So I think that De Ligt has done that. He's shown that he's constantly winning the vast majority of his aerials. He's getting a lot of touches in the opposition box, and he's scoring from those set pieces in the area as well. And that's what we need. If we can get a defender like De Ligt who can read the game, who's a leader in that back line in the dressing room, and who could pitch in with a couple goals here and there on set pieces, I mean, that's perfect, especially if you can get that for like under 50 mil for a 24-year-old. I think that you might have to pinch us, right? I mean, we're almost dreaming at that point. So good numbers since leaving Ajax in the last 5 seasons, both at Juve and Bayern. Obviously, the big number that I worry about is injuries. So I know people have also been calling De Ligt slow. Good morning, KD. How are you, my friend? It's good to see you. Did you see the Erik Ten Hag news? Yeah, you did. Yeah, great news on Erik Ten Hag finally official. It is. We've triggered that 1 year extension again. It's not a new contract. It's the option for that 1 year extension. You know, we've seen that a lot with some of our players as well. So he's obviously under the gun, and we'll see. We'll see what happens. I think this summer could be a big help. So hopefully we get our business started. But it's good to see you. So I know people have been calling Matthijs de Ligt slow. He's actually not that slow. He's not super fast. You don't see a lot of center backs who are super fast. I mean, Mickey Van de Ven is probably one of the fastest center backs I've ever seen. He was actually one of the fastest in the Premier League last season. But that's unheard of. That's an outlier. That's way over like a couple standard deviations to the right of that bell curve. If you guys are familiar with bell curves, look it up. If you want a explanation of what a bell curve is, let me know. So Matthijs de Ligt's top speed is actually 32.81 kilometers per hour. So that's 3 kilometers an hour faster than Jean-Claire Todibo. That's a 1.5 kilometers per hour faster than Raphael Varane, and 1 kilometer an hour faster than Gleason Bremer for reference. So 2 of those are defenders we've been linked with, and Raphael Varane, who we had. So we got here, Katie. Oh, you got here. So I actually double checked it. It's a new contract with another year extension option. So up 1 year from 25 to 26 plus 1. Oh, good deal. It must have come out since we've gone live. I know there was very little information out when I went live, but it sounds like some more information is coming out. So cool. Thanks for updating me on that, my friend. So I've always said that when it comes to speed, that being fast, as far as being fast on your feet, isn't as important if you can read the game and position yourself well, especially as a defender. There's a lot of defenders who were great defenders who weren't particularly fast. You know, Vincent Kompany wasn't super fast. John Terry wasn't super fast. Rio, will say he wasn't quick. Once he got going, he had his long stride, but Vidic wasn't fast. But if you can read the game, it almost seems like you're almost teleporting. That's why I like Daley Blind. Daley Blind was so good for us as a defender because he may not have been super fast, but he could read the game and position himself well. And not to be judgmental, because I do play FIFA and FC24 as well, but I feel like a lot of the time the people whose first criticism of any player is that they're just too slow or they're not fast enough. I think these people play a lot of video games because it helps when you're playing FIFA if the player you're controlling is fast. So I get that, but I think that we've seen from De Ligt over the years that not being the quickest player on the pitch hasn't really impacted his game. He does what he needs to do. He's good on the ball. He's good aerially. Makes a lot of interceptions. Not a problem. And last year he was very active in the Champions League. He did feature in 6 matches. Team of the Week once for Champions League. Managed an assist as well. But what you did see from him in the Champions League is a little bit of a dip in those progressive passing numbers. But I think what you're gonna see that sometimes when you jump from being like big fish and small pond in the league to competing with other big fish, you're going to play a little bit more conservatively. You're going to be playing a little bit more defensively. Some of that could have to do with Thomas Tuchel as well and the way he plays. The problem with De Ligt, and I guess not the problem, like it's the thing that's going to, it's a concern, like I've said a couple times now in the last few weeks, is those knee injuries. 3 inner knee ligament injuries in just 2 seasons at Bayern, and he's missed 15 matches for club and country through those injuries. It's a concern. It's also not a good look that he's yet to feature in the Euros, and is apparently training apart from the rest of the Netherlands squad due to a minor issue. We don't know what that is yet. We don't have a great history with injury-prone players. And our medical staff is an absolute joke. What do I always say about our medical staff? It's Dr. Seuss, Dr. Dre, and Dr. Pepper just chilling in the office back there, waiting for someone to come in that they can mess up even further. They misdiagnosed Casemiro's injury. Remember last season? They rushed back Lisandro Martinez without realizing his foot wasn't healed, actually needed more surgery. They told Ten Hag that Luke Shaw and Tyrell Malacia were going to be fine, so we can go ahead and Sergio Reguilon's loan. Didn't need to do anything about that. And can anyone tell me what was wrong with Malacia? Have we seen any? I know we saw some photos of Malacia in the new kit, but our medical staff, they just like misdiagnosing Casemiro's injury, where he's got to go get a second opinion outside of the club. That's a problem. That should be a worry, you know. And we pay these people; these are our players, and the player's got to go on his own to get a second opinion and find out, nope, something's wrong. Like, that's a problem. We could have really, really, really hurt his career with that misdiagnosis. Like, I'm super serious about that. That's not okay. So I know there are people probably watching this calling me a hypocrite after my doubts about De Ligt's injuries. If you've been following my channel, you know my catchphrase, context is key. De Ligt isn't a bad player. His injuries are worrisome. Yes, I've said that on many videos since we first got linked with him again. But again, with today's video and going a little deep dive into some of his numbers, into some of what he's contributed on and off the pitch, I just want to make sure I'm providing you all with all the information. Again, to provide context so you can make your own decisions, see how you feel about it. Because not everyone is like me and is a super big nerd and wants to do research and look at statistics and all this fun stuff. So that brings me to what Matthijs de Ligt brings to United. We looked at the numbers, like I said, what he can contribute. A lot of aerials, a lot of good passing numbers, a lot of good goals in and around the opposition area on set pieces. I think what I like most about De Ligt, though, and what he brings is his leadership, both on and off the pitch. He takes initiative, like I said. He takes responsibility in the back line and defense. He doesn't shy away or expect someone else to handle these situations all the time. You know, he's organizing. He's a leader. We saw that at Ajax. He's a born leader. He was their club captain as a teenager. He gave that incredible speech to that huge crowd after winning their league campaign under Erik ten Hag, right? And that was, if you haven't seen that footage, go back and watch it. You're probably going to need subtitles unless you speak Dutch. I don't speak Dutch. And how many times in the last couple of years have we heard that United don't have enough leaders? You know, pundits, former players, fans. You know, I myself, we've all said it. You know, I remember all the debates and conversations about the captaincy when Maguire was captain, when he had the armband. There are many fans who still don't think Bruno Fernandes is leadership material, shouldn't be wearing the armband. Like, Matthijs de Ligt is a leader, on and off, like natural on the pitch, and he's a leader in the dressing room. I'm not saying to give him the armband right away if we sign him, not yet anyway. But what he brings to the club in leadership in that capacity is invaluable. We need that on the pitch. People who make decisions, people who take responsibility, take initiative, organize, push others to raise their standards in matches, in the dressing room, on and off the pitch. Especially at a time when United are crying out for more leaders on the pitch. We've seen, this is why I was so, pro Adrien Rabiot. Just that experience, that age, what he brings. Like, if you watch Rabiot play, he's for France in the last couple of weeks, like, he may not have had as good a performance in their last match as he did this the one prior, but he's all over the place, helping out, doing what needs to be done. And this is what we need. We have a lot of young players, and I don't fault young players for not being able to do that because they just lack the experience. But we have players who are kind of coasting and being carried in some matches. I'm not going to name names. I'll let you guys do it. Katie says, yeah, that leadership is a huge plus. It is a huge plus. Having those leaders. Bruno is a leader. Casemiro is a leader. Licha is a leader. Maguire, whether you think he's good or not, is a leader. Johnny Evans is a leader. We have leaders. We need more leaders. If we can turn everybody into little leaders in some ways, that could be great for us. It could elevate the standards of professionalism, self-discipline, motivation, and dedication all within the squad. Of course, it's difficult to have that sort of presence and positive impact on and off the pitch if you're injured all the time. So let's hope that De Ligt's injuries are behind him, the knee injuries especially. I hope that those are not too serious. Haven't seen anything knee-wise that's kept them out. It's just the fact that they've been so consistent in the last 2 years that it's a little bit of a worry. 3 knee injuries in his 2 years at Bayern on both knees tells me that there's something wrong with the knee. I don't know if all ligament, like my dog had an ACL tear a few years back. Small tear, no surgery. But what the vet told me is oftentimes this is like a genetic thing. if one knee has got issues like this, the other knee is probably going to have issues. So I hope it's not like that with humans. I'm not a doctor, so I don't know. But both knee ligaments having issues with De Ligt the last 2 seasons is not a good look. Katie says that back line with De Ligt, Onana, Maguire, Dowell, Martinez will be so mentally tough and full of leadership. It can only bode well for us. I do think so. I don't. It's you. Are you saying there's going to be like a back five situation going on, or just talking about defenders in general? Maguire again. If I had to get rid of one, Maguire, Lindelof, I would probably get rid of Lindelof. Not because I think he's crap. I just think Maguire offers more. I think Maguire really wants to be here. I think it would be better for Maguire to go play week in, week out somewhere like Everton or West Ham. But that's not up to me. We saw West Ham was interested last summer. He didn't want to take a pay cut, which is totally, his prerogative. He doesn't have to. That's not his fault. It's United's fault for paying him too much. It's always harder to give too much and then try to take something back than it is to just build up to that. So it is what it is. Again, I don't blame managers for the wages or the transfer fees. It's not their call. But anyway, those are my thoughts on Matthijs de Ligt, doing a little deep dive on his numbers and his contributions since leaving Ajax, both at Juve and then at Bayern. Obviously, we've been linked with him. It sounds like we're deep in the negotiations with Bayern Munich. Deal could be done. Sounds like the first offer is going to be around 34 million plus add-ons. I think it's probably going to jump up to like 40 plus add-ons, but we'll see. Still a good deal when you look at it. But again, and I've sounded like a broken record, the injuries are a big concern for me. So we'll see what happens. I'd love to hear your thoughts, though. What are your thoughts on Matthijs de Ligt? Is it yay or nay? Our options are slowly going down. I don't think the Bremer, at least some Bremer links, were ever super, super real. Branthwaite's going to be too expensive. Todibo doesn't look like it's going to happen anymore. So haven't seen a whole lot of other names that we've been linked with. What do you got here in the live chat for me? KD. Yeah, Lindelof out over here. He's actually a very good defender, but the fan stigma has stuck, though he's steadily winning them over with performances. Yeah. Harry Maguire is not, he's physical. I mean, yeah, he's slow. The way we've played out from the back has not made Maguire look good. And I think I blame Ten Hag. I've said on several videos, it frustrated me this past season with all our injuries that Ten Hag was continuing to try to play out from the back. You can't do it with someone like Maguire. We have fast attackers. We have Onana, who's really good in the ball. We saw him make some really good long balls. We have Maguire, who's actually pretty decent on the ball too. If we don't have the players to play out from the back, it becomes that 50-50. Do we try to instill that mentality in the squad so everybody can play it, or do we wait till we have the players to do it and so we're not suffering on the pitch? It's obviously one of those hindsight things. You can try it, but the problem is if it doesn't work, it's usually going to lead to us conceding a goal. So Maguire is fine when he's defending deep, when he's just got to defend. But against the press, trying to play out from the back, Maguire's limitations are kind of amplified, and we suffer as a result. So Katie, yeah, the injuries are a worry, but really happy with the transfer overall. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say no to De Ligt. I'm not gonna bash him. I'll support him, but I just I'm worried about the injuries, and I'm concerned, and not because of I'm not blaming De Ligt. It's just we don't have a great history with injury-prone players, and the fact that these knee injuries have started in the last couple of years has me worried. So I want to make sure that we've got defenders lined up, ready to go. I don't know where Camboala stands right now with his status. Lindelof, we saw some rumors with Fenerbahce. Maguire, is he going to stay? Is he going to go? We've got Licha, and that's pretty much it, unless, we've yet to officially announce Johnny Evans, which I don't have a problem with. I think that'd be great. And that would make me feel a little better, and then we can see how De Ligt does. But a De Ligt, Lisandro Martinez partnership almost sounds like perfect on paper with the way they complement each other. It does remind me a lot of a Rio and Vidic, with Licha being that Vidic and De Ligt being that Rio personality. I think they complement each other very, very well. So we will see. Do you think it's a good purchase? Sounds like Katie's on board with it. Do you have any other names that you'd like us to take a look at? I've thrown out Jules Koundé a couple times, who's playing for He's playing predominantly at right back for France right now during the Euros, but obviously he's a center back. If you go back to the other month, I did my video on, I did a whole series on our priority positions that we need to look at. I did striker, center defensive midfielder, left back, and I did a center back video. And then I did a wild card signing video. But, I did go through a few center backs that I'd like us to take a look at in that video. If you haven't watched those, please go do that. But let me know your thoughts on De Ligt. Don't forget, we are doing, let me grab that. We are doing this pre-match giveaway for this shirt when we announce our first men's first team signing. This is the pre-match. When is this from? A couple seasons ago, I think. It's like 1920-ish, I think. But it is brand new. It is a heat transfer, so it is like a player issue kind of a thing going on, not sewn on. It is a medium, so we will do that. And then the winner of the other giveaway for this little number, again, pre-match from this past season, earlier, the first half of the season, another medium, has very graciously declined simply, and I don't have a problem with shipping stuff to other countries. I was prepared to do that. But he has told me, it's too expensive to ship to where he is. And he has offered to let someone else win. So we've still got this other giveaway. I'm going to announce the winner of this one in the next video. We'll do another one for that. So get subscribed, hit the like button, and then when we make our first signing, we'll do that other one. Katie says Branthwaite to Debo comparison. Is that you want me to do it like a video or something, or what are you looking at there? Let me know more about what you mean there. Leave the live chat open for a few more minutes. And has anybody watched De Ligt at Bayern or at Juve? Like I said, I don't watch as much Bundesliga. I probably watch more Bundesliga than I do the Italian league, just because I don't really. Paramount's streaming can be a little iffy now and then, but in Bayern and when I watched Bundesliga this year, it was mostly I would watch a lot of Leipzig, a lot of Leverkusen. Leverkusen have a lot of really good players on the team. I was actually keeping an eye on Ezekiel Palacios last season because I really liked him as a possible Casemiro replacement. I was watching a little bit of Frimpong because he was obviously, we've been heavily linked with him. I do think Frimpong would probably fit in more on the right wing than a right back, because he does play as a wing back and he plays as a very attacking wing back. So I do think that he would kind of seamlessly slot into our right wing. Oh, you want me to do a Branthwaite to Debo comparison? I could do that. Let me know your thoughts on doing that. I almost feel like it would be a little bit moot, simply because I think Tadebo's off the table, and I don't think that we're going to be doing anything with Branthwaite. I know there's seen some reports that we're still interested in Branthwaite. I just don't think that we're going to do the funds, but we'll see over the next couple of days if there are any developments between Tadebo and Branthwaite in terms of our interest. Or I know we hired that lawyer to go talk to UEFA about Tadebo. If there's any developments, I could jump on and maybe do a little bit of breakdown. I did do a little bit of a breakdown of both of them in that center back video, if you want just kind of a general breakdown, because in that video I did, I highlighted some of the names we've been linked with, and then I gave my own thoughts on my own targets as well. So there's a little bit of a brief breakdown of Tadebo and Branthwaite in that video if you want to go get a little bit of a crash course in the two of them. But I will for sure, like, obviously if we're heavily linked, we make a signing and stuff, I'll for sure do another video. But it is a good idea. A little bit closer look at some of the names we've been linked with. I do like, and I've said it before, before I was doing YouTube, I was doing scouting reports, and then I was with StreadyNews.com. I do enjoy doing scouting reports. It's not a flex, but I enjoy it so much. I did, get my level 1 and 2 talent ID badges from the PFSA. I have a level 1 talent ID with the FA. I did get a level 1 data analysis badge from the PFSA as well. And I am certified, because obviously I'm a psychologist. I am also certified in sports psychology. So I enjoy the mental aspect of the game as well. I wrote One of the pieces I really enjoy writing for Steady News was a piece on resilience, mental resilience in football, but mainly in the United squad, because we struggled a lot with that last season. You know, we'd concede a goal, we'd make a mistake, and heads would drop. And it's about, you know, in those moments, how do you push back? How do you bounce back from those periods, from those mistakes? So I do enjoy that a lot. When I was with Livonia City FC as a board member, I did enjoy kind of scouting a little bit during tryouts and things. So I do enjoy a lot of that. It's a bit nerdy, but I enjoy it. But I do appreciate the support there. Yeah, your video, your eye will be a bit more nuanced. I just I probably spend way too much time watching and reading about footy, to be honest with you. I don't think my wife knew what she was getting into when we got married, but it is literally all the time. Yeah, and Katie, go check out the other video, man. A little bit deep dive, but like I said, I did one on strikers, one on left backs, and one on midfielders as well. And then I did that wild card on people who were cheap or entering the final year of their contract, or free signings, like Adrian Rabiot in there as well. So check that out. What we got here, Katie? Wow, great certification I picked up from just the way you talk about football and players that you weren't in armchair YouTube. I'm not a YouTube clip guy. I don't like, I have watched like Brazil Scout and whatnot. Obviously that's not the best way to learn. Obviously it's much quicker to spend 5 minutes watching a compilation than it is to watch a full 90, but I do feel like a full 90 is needed a lot of times, and many full 90s when you're looking at a given player, and it's difficult because, and this is why I'll watch United matches a couple times. Like I'll watch it live because you're watching the action, but then I'll turn on and watch it again, like while I'm working out or something the next day, to watch what's going on off the ball. I like to see the shape of the team, what the players are doing off the ball, how they're moving, how they're organized. Like, and I think that really lends another layer to it. Obviously, not everyone has that time. And I'm not saying that your opinion isn't as good as mine because you don't have that time. It's just the way, like, I like to enjoy it and I want to watch and want to learn. I feel like I'm a student of the game still, even at 38 years old. I want to learn more. So, in any case, that is my deep dive into Matthijs de Ligt and his last 5 seasons at Juve, at Bayern, what I think he could bring, what he offers on and off the pitch. And I think that we're going to see some things ramp up over the next week or so. I was hoping to get some signings announced probably this week, but I think we were pushing hard for Ashworth and then taking care of Erik ten Hag's contract first. And I think, preseason starts in a little over a week, so we're going to see what happens. But those are my thoughts. Let me know yours. Please don't forget to like the video. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I've been super appreciative of all the support and all the community growth I've seen in the last couple weeks. Sounds like you guys really enjoy these deep dive videos. I do enjoy doing the roundups as well. Sometimes I feel like the roundups are very similar to what a lot of other channels do, and so it's not. And obviously the summer's a bit slower. So when we do have breaking news, I will jump on and share it, get your thoughts, share my thoughts, such as Ten Hag's contract announcement. And obviously, as I'm live, news is broken and more information has come out. So super appreciative of KD for filling me in on some of the more details of Erik ten Hag's contract. So appreciative of that. Let me know your thoughts on Matthijs de Ligt. Don't forget to get subscribed to get involved in these giveaways. We'll be doing more, and I'll probably announce the winner on the next video, and then we'll do another winner on that other warm-up when we sign our first player. But I appreciate you guys stopping by. Let me know your thoughts, and I will see you on the next one. And KD, man, thanks for stopping by, and I will talk to you later.